Hi everyone. So I've been using Pixel 8 for over 2 months now. I've had my fair shares of issues with Pixel phones in the past and the same thing happened with Pixel 8 as well. But I keep coming back to them. I almost sold this phone, but then I'm glad I didn't. See, I'm going to explain why I like this phone, but before that I want to tell that it still has those throttling issue, it still has those heating issues, it still has that network reception issues, many other networks, and in many countries the service centers are not really good. So I'm not going to recommend this phone to a lot of people. I don't do that, but I'm still going to share my experience. See, there are a lot of things that are missing in Google software as well when it comes to certain countries. Like in India, you do not get that call screening option. We don't get Wi-Fi 6E or 7. I think that's just limited to US and in some other countries. So you don't get everything, but I still think this phone is worth it, but only for Pixel fans. First of all, let's talk about the design. The design is unique, and I have so many people ask this question: is that a Google phone? It has that unique look that makes it stand out. The visor makes it easy to recognize and easy to type on a flat surface. I wish Pixel 8 had that matte back, but it doesn't. So I got myself a matte back protector. And one of the biggest advantage Pixel 8 has over many other Android phone is going to be the size. The only other phone that can compete with Pixel 8 in the size department is going to be S23. That's the only flagship phone. We do not get Sony or even Asus in many markets, so that is the only phone I can compare with this phone. That is a great phone as well, but there are something that Pixel 8 offers better. Now that the display has been upgraded and the bezels are more symmetrical, this is one of the cheapest flagship phone in the market that actually looks like a flagship, unlike the previous Pixel 7 or Pixel 6. Yes, it is not an LTPO panel, but it's still a great display to look at. It can reach up to 1400 nits on auto brightness in outdoors, and you can get up to 2000 nits while watching HDR content. So when it comes to display, I have no complaints. If I have to complain about something, that is going to be the auto brightness. That is still kind of suck on Pixel phones. This is the only phone that I've used in like last 5 years that I have to manually adjust brightness when I'm like walking into a darker area to a brighter area. So that is one weakness with Pixel phones. Which brings me to the battery life. And that is a really mixed bag for me. So when I got this phone, I got good battery life. After a couple of updates, I was getting a really bad battery life, and now it's amazing again. So I'm using the QPR Beta 2, that is quarterly program release, and I've been getting a really good battery life, especially on Wi-Fi. So I was getting around 7 to 8 hours screen on time, which is great for the size of phone. And if I talk about 5G, I can still manage 5 hours, but on 5G, like the modem is not really great, so it will eat up more battery. But the standby has been improved a lot. Previously, I think it was eating up almost 10 to 12% overnight, but now the battery drain is like 2 to 3%, which is great when it comes to a tensor chip. And the charging speed of Pixel has been upgraded to 27 watt as well. And for me, it works. I always charge my phone when it is around 25% up to 100%, and it takes less than 1 hour. I know it's not the most fastest phone when it comes to charging. I mean, even the Samsung and Apple are not. But the one thing great about those brands that they support a common standard, that is PD charging. And I have a lot of PD chargers. And I would prefer that over any of those VOOC charging or whatever the hyper charging is there, because you need to have proprietary charger and I cannot buy them multiple. There are a lot of times when you travel, I go to my hometown or I'm going somewhere else, I cannot carry that charger. But I have a lot of PD chargers. So until those brand come to a standard, I will still prefer the speedy charging over those fastest charging. There are two things that make Pixel a Pixel: the cameras and the software. And they kind of work together because Pixel is not about crazy hardware, even when it comes to camera. So it's all about the processing and the AI features. I still don't understand why don't we get those Pixel 8 Pro features like video boost or pro control on this phone. I'm okay not having video boost because like it has not been great, but I would like to have more pro controls on Pixel 8 because the hardware is same. The photos are always great for my taste in the daylight or even in night time. I think in nighttime it still produces one of the best pictures. The quality has also been improved from last year, especially in 2x shot. Unfortunately, the portraits are not up to the current standards. The video quality has been improved as well. Let's have a look. This is a rear camera recording from Pixel 8. So I'm recording in 4K 30 frames per second. I'm going to be walking and I want to show you the HDR as well, like how it works. Let me just go outside so that you can hear a bit of ambient sound and my sound as well. I think the audio quality has been improved as well. So This is something you can also switch the camera lenses. So this is ultra wide, this is 1x, and if you want to go to 2x you can actually do that as well. Not sure how clear you can see, but I think the dynamic range has been really good as well. I think it's this time I have been impressed with Pixel Video. This is front camera recording 4K 30 frames per second. Yes, this can do 4K 60 as well, but I'm recording in 4K. And you can see the dynamic range behind me as well, which I think is really, really good. I like the audio quality from Pixel phones as well. So let me know, what do you think about it? Pixel doesn't disappoint when it comes to software and camera experience, and you also get one of the best feedback, the software experience, the AI feature when it comes to Google phones. You also get some Pixel exclusive feature. This year it was the best take and video boost, they highlighted a lot. But there are other features like face blur, portrait light, magic eraser, and there are many other things that works on the whole Pixel lineup. I'm also expecting this best take and video boost to come to other Pixel devices in later this year. Now let's talk about the weakest point of this phone and one of the reason people do not actually buy this phone, and that is going to be the processor, Tensor G3. This is the third iteration of the Tensor chip, and somehow I think it is getting worse. I don't know why. The modem is still there, it's weak. You cannot expect this from a flagship phone. If you're not in US, you're going to face this issue with many networks in many countries. In India, with Geo network, like it is worse for me. It works great with Airtel, so I'm using Airtel right now. But this phone gets really warm on 5G as well. It does not perform really well when it comes to heavy tasks like gaming, photo or video editing. And the efficiency has been a concern amongst the user. And if that wasn't enough, the absurd launch price of Pixel phones in many countries makes it a big no go for a lot of users. And I even do not recommend a lot of people to buy a Pixel phone when it launched. Even in US, when it launched $700, I think it was still a decent buy, but after a couple of months, I mean, you get a lot of discount right now. You can get this phone for under $500 with all the discount that is going on right now, which makes it a deal. But in India now, after all the discount, it comes to $700, which doesn't make it a best value phone. The problem is the hardware is not great. I mean, it is kind of a flagship phone, but like if you compare it with any other mid-ranger, the performance will be kind of similar if you actually want to perform heavy tasks. I get it, you get a great software experience, but this phone is still not up to the mark when it comes to the price. So if you still ask me whether this phone is worth it or not, it's yes or no. Yes, for those people who actually prefer the software experience and camera experience over hardware, they do not care about gaming or like heavy processing on the phone. This phone is worth it. But if you're someone who plays games or you want something more performance out of this phone, you do not want to have any sort of heating issues or network issues from your phone, this phone is not for you. And I would say this phone is not value for money for a lot of people. I am happy with this phone, but there are times when I get irritated with this phone. Sometimes I'm using 5G and using this phone continuously, they start heating up. I'm not using my phone with any case right now and I can feel it more. But if you're someone who's going to use a case, you might not feel that. Right now it's winter, I'm not facing any heating issue, but it can change with the summer. So if you're someone who can accept that fact, go ahead, buy it. But otherwise, do not buy this phone. Let me know if there is anything you want to ask about this phone. You can also follow me on Twitter because I share a lot of frequent analysis on Twitter. Please like this video if you actually enjoyed it. My name is Rohit. I'll see you in the next one. Till then.